I have done in my notebook.
Okay. Is it a physical notebook or
Yes.
it's a virtual notebook?
It's a physical notebook, and I have sent through the email. I've taken the
Yeah, just open
picture.
So
your
then
email.
open your email.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because you sent me in the email, right? So you should have it in the email.
I think this is too big. Can I make it small?
Yeah. Go ahead and make it small.
Then I think it's, so double click on that. Go back to the original mail. Click on the mail. Okay, scroll down. Can you save the attachment as some JPEG file on local folder and open it? It'll open it up properly. So you, what is that download icon? Third from the right, right. Yeah, that one. No.
The delete one.
No, keep going, keep going. You have an arrow right next to it. Yeah. Okay, it's moved. It's a moved inbox. Never mind.
Inbox, no. Let's go. Is there anything like zoom in or zoom out, something like that? No.
Should be if you right click on it. I don't know if you're using mouse or what you're using it.
Is it okay?
There you go.
Okay, but it's in.
Just flip it.
Okay, I can see zoom in. Okay. A little bit. Zoom out. Okay, then flip.
Maybe you download again and then you can rotate your image.
Move your cursor to the 3 dots all the way to the right. Can she hear me?
That's what I'm thinking. How to rotate this one?
Yeah,
That's
so
okay.
go all the way to the right. There should be download and 3 dots in there. Do you see the 3 dots on the right side? So you see open with, and then print. Yeah, so
Keep going right. Keep going right.
keep going to the right.
The top, there is 3 vertical dots.
Yeah.
Right.
No, not there.
Not there.
In the black area where you have open with. No, keep your mouse is.
Near the printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Do you
the
see
way
a
to the
printer
right.
icon? Right next to that, there's a download icon.
I
No.
can't see any printer. The video screen, poster.
Okay.
So do you see open with?
I'm requesting a control.
Okay.
Release the control. Just accept it. The
Okay,
control.
okay.
Okay. So now, then you can just go.
Okay.
And then just do a download. Do you see this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can click at that download and save it somewhere on your local drive. Or the other thing you can do it is open with it, and then you can just say, hey, I want to open with the photo editor or a PDF converter. So let's say if you open up with photo editor, it'll open it up. And then did you download it? Because it's going to download as a JPEG file.
So do we have the access now? Can I do that?
Where did you download it?
That's what I'm telling now. The access is with you, right?
Yeah, take back the access. Yeah. The
Dilip,
moment you click it,
I think you should select the download and then
There you
Dilip,
go.
just for
save to photo. Yeah.
time, let me go ahead and share. I downloaded her image and I can go
Okay.
ahead and share.
that's a good idea.
You can start,
So-
stop sharing your screen for now. Okay. Okay, hopefully
There
you
you
guys
go.
can.
Yep, now it's set. So you have 4 cases.
Mhm.
So
Exactly kind of like the how we created the dealer user.
okay, so when I look at it, right, you are mixing the two things.
Mhm.
Okay, you're mixing the dealer user with the dealer. Remember the franchise number and everything that you talked about? That's applicable only to dealer, not to dealer user.
So think about the requirement here, right? What they are trying to say here. Area manager can create following user types: dealer user or RFREP user. So when they are think about the process, basically, you already know the user here. It's area manager. They already gave it to you.
Mhm.
Now, what are they trying to do here? They're trying to create a user, right?
Right.
And what they are saying is they can create either dealer user or RFREP user. They shouldn't be able to create anybody else.
Else.
Okay, so I'm not sure why you have the 2-digit state and franchise number and other information here. But the requirement is about the users. Okay.
Yeah, I think I get little bit confused with the dealer and the dealer user. Yes.
Right. So this is about the user, dealer user and RFREP user. So for this one, right? So if we have to draw something, right? So it could be as simple as something like this. So this is the requirement, right? Here at the top, you can have a dealer user. They can create dealer user. They can create RFREP user. Those are the 2 different things they should be able to do. Is there anything else that they can do with this requirement?
Now,
I don't think so.
hang on, guys. So so Herschel gave you a 2-path, right? Is that the only 2 use cases that you have to write?
I got 4 of them.
On this requirement.
So
It's
what
only 2
are the
cases.
other 2? Like you said, you got 4. Herschel has
Yeah,
shown
so
2. What are the other?
these are the 2 positive cases here, and there should be some negative. There are some negative as well. So the area manager tried to create the dealer user with missing information. And one more is area manager creating the RFREP with the missing information. 2 with the valid information and 2 with the invalid or missing informations. So total 4 test cases.
Okay, so what you have here, right? If I have to draw it, so you have valid data, right? That's what you are saying. And
Yeah,
then you have
yeah.
invalid.
Yo, are they meeting now?
And then you are trying to create dealer user, or RFREP user, right? Same
Yes.
thing here, invalid data, you are trying to create dealer user and trying to create RFREP user. Is that's what you are saying, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Dilip, do you have any comment on that?
No, I think it's directionally it is kind of in the right direction.
Okay.
So hopefully all of you can start
But the
seeing a
inventory
pattern.
be large. That's why. If on a regular, like I go say more go on farm, but the inventory be large. And the inventory be large.
Can you repeat that?
For we store.
What? Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I go call you back.
Oh, he's on the phone. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. No
I was
worries.
trying to understand.
Can I share my screen?
All right.
Yes, go ahead. Share your screen. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Or should, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Whoever wants to share.
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no. I was just trying to say you should be able to put Kobe's mic on the mute. So, okay.
Oh, I see. No, it is fine. I think he's done. Yep. Go ahead and expand it. Yep. There you go. Okay, these are the different requirements here. Dhanasri, did you have anything similar or you had something
Hello?
different?
Yeah, it's a similar. I was showing the same logical steps and the
Okay.
diagram. And
So
then
which path you took, Dhanasri? So did you have 2 test cases or 4?
2.
You have 2. So you had dealer user and RFREP user,
Yes,
those
yes,
2
yes.
positive ones. Okay. Okay.
Can I
Yeah, I
share?
think then you're good. You don't have to share that because we already gone through that, right?
Okay.
But if you want to share, go ahead and share a different one. Is everybody clear on this particular requirement? This requirement is very straightforward, right? There is not many complexity here. It's one user trying to create other users. So you need to just simplify it or depict it simple way. So, I mean, you can potentially write 4 different test cases here, right? Those 4 different lips that you have, and you can just write the steps accordingly to test out the functionality.
Harshal?
Yes.
I
Go ahead.
had the similar scenario, like 2 positives and then my negatives were invalid dealer user and invalid RFREP user. So valid dealer user, valid, and then invalid dealer and invalid RFREP user. That was the tree that I had.
So Navita, you are saying you had the same tree then, right?
Yes.
Yes. Then
Okay.
you're fine. Yep. Yeah, this requirement is very straightforward. So, so hopefully, yep, I think everybody should have similar one.
Just
Similar tree.
making sure I'm thinking it right.
Yep. No, that is
Thank
correct.
you.
Yeah, go ahead, Dilip.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Dilip, I
Oh,
have a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
go
Okay.
ahead.
Why we are not checking lender here? I know in requirement they are saying only dealer user and rep user, but is this not necessary to check lender?
So did you go back and look at the security table that was in, I believe it's in 2.6 or 2.3.2?
Okay.
There was a table, right? Who can do what kind of thing?
Yeah.
Is there a manage lender user functionality anywhere? It talks about managing lender, but not lender user,
Okay.
right? So do you have a lender user as a user type?
I'm searching for the page right now. Managing lender.
So you need to stick to the scope of the requirement, right? I mean, there might be different requirement that says somebody else can manage a lender user. So when you are looking at writing the test case for that or test scenario for that, that's where you come up with the lender user type of test case. But this requirement specifically says RFREP user can create only this type of user. So they shouldn't be able to create anything else.
Okay.
That's what you are trying to prove. Now, if system does allow it, any other user, then it's a failure, right? Failure of basically, you can have a negative scenario for that just to check. So if system allows creating any other user
Okay.
other than, which could be a negative scenario. You can mention that.
Okay.
Yep. Does it make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. So Dharasri, don't open the test case. We are not worried about test case today. Okay. I'm
Okay.
glad that you had it, but let's look at the tree and see what you came up with. If you can zoom in, I think that would be good.
Okay. So
But this tree is a different one, not the same one, I guess.
It
this
a
is for the other requirement, right?
Yes.
So let's talk through it. I think it's everybody understood the second tree, right? So that there's no more questions. Like it's how you, what tree you will have for dealer user and RFREP user. Any question on there? If not, then we can move it to 264.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So should we always have it like a negative scenario?
You don't have to.
Okay.
Unless it's benefiting in validating the requirement,
Yeah.
you don't have to have a scenario with all those user related figures.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. It's kind of similar to what she just asked. So in this case, if we test it for the two users, creating two users with the two positive cases, I didn't do the negative ones. I was kind of curious that I was wrong, or it's still okay.
Well, so again, go back to the things that we were talking about. Do you have a sufficient test cases to validate everything in the requirement? And is there any user case which is kind of repetitive or does not add a value to it?
Okay.
Right. You can use those criteria to define initially of how you want to put this requirements or the scenarios which is under question.
Okay.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So with this, in this requirement, site administrator or super user can also create a dealer user and RFREP user. So it is is it okay to mention that fifth leaf in this one? What if the user is already exist in the system?
So Dipal, I think that's a separate requirement, right? Site administrator requirement is separate, which is a different requirement.
Yeah, yes, but what I think I need to reframe my question. So
Okay.
when area manager try to create a dealer user or RFREP user, he cannot or she cannot do it because already the user is exist in the system. Is that the valid test case scenario, or we can just ignore that test case?
So user already exists, but is there a requirement that says that user, the same user information cannot be entered into the system?
No, there is no requirement that saying.
If you try to create the user with the same information, let's say you have John Doe, you are putting everything exactly same twice, what would happen in that case?
It
You
will
should
not
be able to
allow.
create it. No, you should be able to create it, but it will have a different user right, or whatever the username would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, we talked about that in the class, how it will increment the username, the auto-generated unique number.
Okay.
Right? So it will allow you, but it will just have a different username. Like
Yes.
username 1, whatever, John Doe, J Doe 1, J Doe 2, J Doe 3, whatever, that way. So there is no requirement in the system that says that you cannot enter same information for a different user.
Yes, I totally agree. But what I'm saying is a little bit different, because a site, a super user can also create a dealer user and RFREP user.
Okay. Okay.
So what if we are doing the exactly same person, still the system will allow it, or they just denied the login into the system?
login into the system. I'm not clear on what you are saying over there. Dilip,
So
do you understand what he's asking?
No, can you repeat that? I'm trying
yes,
to.
so I'm saying that if area manager is not aware of creating the same user is already exist in the system who who created by the super user.
Okay.
So in that case, what are we supposed to do?
So let's say area manager creates John Doe, right? Same
Yes,
information. Now super user logs in and tries to enter the same user again.
yes,
That's what you're saying, right? Let's say dealer user. Both are creating dealer user with exactly same information.
yes.
Now, is there a rule that says that system does not allow, should not allow them to enter the same information? Is
No,
that then what would happen in that case? They will be able to create the user, right? It's just
yes,
that it will auto increment the user number. So when area manager creates, it will be JDO according to the other rules that we have. And when the super user will create it, it will be JDO1 or JDO2, whatever the next sequential unique number is,
okay,
right? And if
yes,
somebody else comes in and they try to, maybe regional manager comes in, tries to create the same user, it will be JDO3. There is no rule that prevents it in the
okay,
system, right?
okay, yes, thank you.
Sure. All right, so I think Tanushree, I think you had what I think looks like it is fine. Is any other question on this requirement? Otherwise, we can move on to the loan calculator one. Okay, Tanushree, go ahead and explain the requirement first, okay, before you dive into the tree.
Yeah, so the requirement is we have needs ability to calculate the loan payment based on predefined condition, and the predefined condition is the time has to be 60 months period when the lender will calculate the loan amount. So
Okay.
I make a scenario like calculate loan payment. If it's in predefined like over 60-month or 60-month time period, it will valid and it will calculate the payment amount. And I go to the invalid section if it's like below 60-month or over like not in the 60-month time frame period, it will invalid, and I write down the logical steps in there.
So think about who is doing the work, what business process. Can you explain that on that little bit, and how this requirement fits into that process?
Lender is
Forget about
trying to calculate the payment.
Yeah. So walk us through the scenario steps that you would think when this requirement will be applied in the system.
I didn't get it. Can you repeat?
Yeah. So who is doing who can do the work, right? Basically, when this requirement will apply, in what business process or process in the system?
When super user or super user will define this term, like the loan payment calculation has to be done if it's only in that 60-month time period, and it will pass to the lender, and then when lender will calculate on that calculator loan payment.
So is the lender calculating it? Or
No.
okay, I mean, hold on that thought. Let's see if somebody else has any different thought. Anybody else wants to explain?
Yeah, so it's the dealer who is doing the calculation before sending the loan application to the lender.
Okay.
I have the same answer as well.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so this requirement comes into picture. So you have a user dealer, right? So that's what who is doing the work. That's a dealer. In this particular case, when Nilima explained. Now, obviously, super user also has access to this functionality. So let's leave that aside. Then, when the customer comes in, they are trying to calculate the loan payment for them. So that's where they are interacting with the system, and this calculation, they are trying to calculate the monthly payment, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here, so you understand what process it applies. So it's a customer, and that those tabs, you can identify that. Now,
Yeah.
what is being calculated here?
EMI.
EMI, which monthly.
No,
monthly
the repair cost.
Monthly, whatever we have to pay for the repairs.
Okay.
Okay, so let me talk that, right? So the amount that they just say, it's, hey, I need to be ability to calculate loan payment.
Mhm.
Is that loan payment a principal? Is it a monthly payment? What exactly that loan payment amount is?
It's the monthly
Monthly.
payment that's gonna occur through 60-month time period.
No, what are you providing as an input?
Monthly payment.
If I'm already providing as a monthly payment, why do I need to calculate?
No, we are providing the principal.
Yeah, loan
So the loan amount, right? Because if some
loan
customer-
amount. Yeah, loan amount that can be distributed through 60 months.
Okay,
Okay.
so if it's going to be distributed over 60 months, why do I have two branches? One just says predefined for calculation over 60 months, and the one for below 60 months. When I know it's going to be always 60 month only.
Well, the condition says, what is it?
What is the requirement?
This,
Does the requirement
Calculation
tells you that it's going to be a different period, or it's always going to be 60 months?
it's always going to be 60 months on the condition.
So if that's the case, why do I need to start with the scenario that's predefined calculation over 60 months and a one for the below 60 month?
To see if somebody tries to select that and if it works.
So tell me, if you provide me a data field that I need to enter, and that should always be exact same, what value it adds? Why would even I kind of provide that as a data field? Because I know it's always going to be 60 months.
Yeah.
So step back here and figure it out. What are the inputs you're going to provide? And what are the different scenarios it's going to be created based on those inputs? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a different scenario.
Okay.
So I think Dhanasri here is trying to have a negative scenario for that.
So go ahead, Namita.
Dhanasri, go ahead and share back your screen, if you would.
I don't know how to share this.
So is it on a piece of paper or how is it,
It's
Namita?
I put it on a Word document.
Okay, so if you go into your Zoom window, there is a bottom, there is a green button called Share Screen.
Okay. Oh dear. I have all this, I think is this area.
Or are you dialed in from phone?
No, I am here. Not
Yeah,
this
just click on share screen and click on
The
screen.
window.
Yeah, whatever the selected is fine. Just click on share afterwards. You should be good.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
No, you hasn't shared it. So click on the green button at the bottom on your Zoom.
Okay.
There should be a green button called Share Screen.
Oh, then I should hit share again.
Click on that. Yeah, there you go. Now
Okay.
you can see it. Okay.
So I had this scenario, I had with down payment and interest. I don't know if I
Okay.
should have necessarily written this one. So I'm trying to put my thoughts together. And I did with zero down payment and interest, I shouldn't have.
Okay.
done.
So again, remember what we said it,
Mhm.
that you do not create your own requirements.
No, I
Is there
assumed
a
it.
requirement talking anything about the down payment?
No,
So why are you creating a requirement and scenario with the down payment?
I was guessing, like people do say, like, I'm going to pay this much down and rest. I'm going to
Again,
take-
I understand, Namita, but at the same time, you should focus on the requirements.
Got it.
right? Does requirement talk anything about down payment?
No.
So
it.
if you have a question, then you should ask the user instead of assuming it that they want a down payment.
Awesome. Got it.
Right.
Thank you.
So
Hello,
let me go back to the question, right?
Okay.
What are the inputs you're providing it as part of this requirement?
I think what I read on a requirement says that based on loan amount required.
Okay, so you said that loan amount is one input data. Is there any other input data that I'm providing?
For
Time frame,
repairs.
60 months.
What was somebody said something? Second.
Yeah, I said maybe total cost of the repairs.
That's the loan amount, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
one and same.
Yeah.
Okay, so your only input is the loan amount, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So from a loan amount, what are the possible scenarios I can do it? Like 60 month is always going to be constant, right? So if in a loan amount, then what are the different scenarios you can think about, right? So is this amount entered into as a number or a decimal number, right?
Is it a negative number?
Right, so it just says A is a positive number. Second scenario, is it a negative number? Third scenario, they can say, hey, I'll enter alphanumeric, right? So instead of like it's putting a 1000 as a number, somebody can try to put 1000 in terms of words, right? And then the fourth scenario is what happens if somebody tries to calculate without providing any data. So no data scenario.
Dilip, I have a question. Are we validating the loan amount?
We are validating the input, right? What happens, because remember, scenarios you're providing it is, hey, I need to calculate the loan payment. And the loan payment is going to be based on the principal amount, right? So if you look at the requirement.
But why I'll put a negative amount?
Well, what are the things user can enter it, right? If I have a loan amount field, what are things user can enter? The whole purpose of testing is to make sure you have the positive test scenario that essentially demonstrate the valid behavior of the system. And the second one is a negative test scenarios. If they are able to execute those scenarios, then it shows that, hey, in those events, system doesn't crash it. I still get an expected result, right? So if you look into here, I have a 1 positive scenario and 3 negative scenarios. Because if somebody gives me a simple text entry field, data entry field, I could enter a negative number, right?
Yes.
Right.
I could enter an alphanumeric things. I could just say A123. Or I could enter like it's 1000 as a number, which is your positive scenarios. So you have to think about it is what are the different things user can execute for this particular scenario based on their ability to enter or interact with the system. It gets good. Why I have 4 scenario here?
Yes, but sorry. Yes, but I think in my case, I completely misunderstood what the requirement was in this case. How I interpreted was I was testing if the system, if the user is trying to calculate the loan payment, and if they select the predefined 60 month, which is already in the system, if they were able to get the loan payment or not. That's what I thought I was testing. So now when you explain it, it does make sense that I was interpreting it wrong.
Okay.
I came up with the similar for scenario. Over 60 months, less than below 60 months, correct amount will come. And I have another scenario, everything is correct, but the wrong calculation will come out with the 60 months.
Well, so when you say it's, hey, everything is correct, but the wrong calculation will come out, how are you going to validate whether something is right or wrong? So let's say if I say it's like it's calculate the loan payment amount for $1,000 of principal, how do I know the system gave me a wrong answer or a right answer?
Calculated like on piece of paper or with the calculator.
Okay, so if that's a scenario, right? If I put $1,000, so when you say that you have two different test cases where it returns a valid response or correct value, and the second one is it returns an incorrect value. If your first one fails, what does that indicate? What did system return? Incorrect value, right?
Yes.
So second one is redundant. Also, if they've implemented the system correctly, will you ever be able to execute a scenario where it'll return your incorrect payment value? So you have to think about it. Is it testable condition or not?
Yes.
Right? Because remember, what is the condition? It has to be testable. If you can't test it, how do you know whether it's going to pass or fail?
Yes.
So think about those aspects also when you define the tree. Is that something that I can even create scenario in the system?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
So going back on the same line, right? For this requirement for the positive scenario, right? And we are talking about $1,000. How do you know the system is calculating correctly? Or what are you expecting out of it? If system gives you $1,000 as a monthly amount, is that correct? If it gives you $10 as a monthly amount, is that correct? How would you validate this requirement further? The tree is fine, but now I'm thinking at the leaf level on the positive scenario side. If I input $1,000, how do I know what is expected?
Okay,
Or what's supposed to come?
isn't there a calculator, like a predefined calculator, which has some kind of steps to calculate what is going to be the monthly payment the user has to do along with the interest added with the principal?
So how do I know what that value is going to be? That's what Herschel is asking question, right? So let's say if I test it in the system and I enter $1,000 and gives me that, hey, your monthly payment is $500. How do I know that $500 is right or wrong?
There should
Remember,
be
you
a
have to write an
predefined-
expected results, right?
Mhm.
So if I put $1,000 as input, what should be my expected result?
Okay, so do we have something less than or greater than kind of thing?
Well, okay, let's go back normally, right? So whenever you have to perform any calculation for any loan amounts, right? Going back to your basic financial tools or basic mathematics, right? If somebody tells you that you have $1,000 loan amount and you need to calculate it, what all factors you needed? You need the
the time
principal,
period.
right?
Principal, time period. rate
Okay,
of-
you need second thing is time period you needed. What is the third thing you needed?
Interest rate.
Interest rate, right? What all you have it as an input? If you think about it, you need those three factors. Do you have those three factors? So it gave you a time period, right? 60 months.
Mhm.
It gave you a principal amount, right? Which is $1,000, I put it. The other one is 60 months. What is the interest rate?
It's there in the requirement.
Where is it?
So you mean to say the data is incomplete?
I'm asking you guys a question, right? Did you do a 3CNT test? If I'm giving you $1,000 as the loan payment amount, how do I calculate my monthly payment so that I can validate it? Again, I think it's part of, so think of this way. Whenever you are like, it's trying to build a tree for any requirements, the first thing you need to do it is apply a 3C and a T test and make sure you understand the requirement. Is it complete, correct? And is it consistent? Then you have to apply to say, hey, is it testable? And if so, then you write different test scenarios. And they said, can I test each of those scenarios? So in this case, I think I heard multiple things. Somebody says that, hey, interest rate is not provided, or somebody says interest rate is provided. So to me, it sounds like as a class, we are not in agreement that this system, this requirement is complete or not, right? So those who are saying that this is complete, can you help us finding it out where the interest rate is in the document? If you feel it's not, who should you ask questions to?
Go back to the developer.
And who is the developer?
Business.
The business.
Person who is well,
Ask the user.
whoever is wanting us to use the service.
Right. So it's not the developer, right? Developer is the people who are building the system, right? Who are writing the code.
The code only.
So either business analyst or business user.
Okay.
Right. So in this scenario, who would you go and ask it? We did that thing in the class too, remember?
Question.
Do we have a business user on the call?
Arshal.
Okay, so ask him the question. Were you waiting for me to say any permission?
So what are we doing here?
Okay, so what I can get you is a simple formula to calculate the loan amount without you guys worrying about the time period or interest rate or anything else. Okay. So I will give you the formula here. It would be the 3% of the loan amount. That would give you the monthly payment. Okay, monthly payment.
All right. So given that, if I tell you that, hey, can you calculate based on $1,000 loan amount? Can you calculate and put it in expected result?
If we have the amount, interest rate, and the period, yes, we can do that.
Well, okay, we're going back to amount, period, and interest rate. What did Herschel just say?
3%.
He gave you a formula, right?
Yeah, interest rate.
So if it's $1,000, what is the 3% of $1,000?
30.
$30, right? So now
Mhm.
if I run the test with $1,000, what should be my expected result?
For 30 months, it should work out to,
There is no 30 months.
okay, there's no 30.
61.
Again, you guys are going back in the same loop. Where does 30 months come from?
Yeah.
So what do you want exactly? You want the total amount along with the interest?
Simple question. If I'm testing this requirement, what does the requirement say? As a user,
Mhm.
I should be able to calculate the monthly payment given a loan amount, right?
Okay.
I'm telling you, if I give you a loan amount of $1,000,
Mhm.
Herschel has given you formula. Can you calculate what should be the expected monthly payment amount?
It is a $46.6 is approximate monthly.
How did you calculate that? He said 3%. Okay.
Yes, so 3%.
3% of $1,000 is how much?
$30.
$30.
Right. So how did you get the $46?
Is it 30 divided by 60?
But 3% of the loan amount, so you need to add that. It's a little bit of a finance question. So that
No,
$30 we need to.
Again, you guys are going in a completely wrong directions. It's a simple question. What is 3% of $1,000?
It's 30.
$30.
30.
Okay, so Herschel gave you a formula that your monthly payment is going to be 3% of loan amount. So if my loan amount is $1,000, 3% of is $30, then what should be my expected results? $30.
$30, yes.
Okay, that's what you need to
If
keep it.
If I
If I put it like $5,000, then what should be my monthly payment? What is the 3% of $5,000?
150.
It's 150.
Mhm.
Right. So if you put $5,000 as your input for a loan amount, system should return you 150 as a monthly payment. If it returns you anything different, then you know the system is not working as expected. Are you guys with me on the same page?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
So in this case, we completely, so we found out that the previously given requirement didn't meet the conditions to test, and we're testing the new formula that the business user wanted, right?
That is correct. So previous requirement was incomplete, right? Because you
Yes.
did not have the interest rate. You only had 60 months.
Mhm.
Now I could have given you different formula as well, but I
Okay.
connected the formula to the 3% of the loan amount, which is equivalent to the same thing.
Got it. Okay. I'm just trying to understand the process, what we do.
Yep. Okay. So now you should be able to write down the steps as well for each of these 4 scenarios, right? I mean, steps should be very similar, the logical steps, if you think about that. And if you have written that down, then it's you should be able to have, with the test data, you can convert to the actual test case afterwards.
So Harsh, I have a question right here.
Yeah.
So in the requirement, if it says need ability to calculate, so need ability, is that what is making the statement incomplete?
No, the formula is not given, right? So you can't really calculate the monthly payment. That's what it makes it incomplete.
Oh.
Right? Because if you are testing this, right? So you have to input some amount and you are expecting the monthly payment. You are expecting the system will calculate monthly payment. But as a QA, when you are writing the scenarios and test cases and so forth, you need to think through the test data. And that's where I think when you start thinking about test data, if I input $1,000, what should be the expected outcome? And that's where you will run into this issue as well. But again, with the given experience, I mean, that's where it will come. But if you read it with some experience, I mean, maybe at the end of these sessions or whatever, the camp, you will be able to recognize this type of requirements. Hopefully. So
Okay. Because initially my thinking was, if it says need ability to calculate, then that this person don't already have the ability to go into the system and calculate what does need ability to. So I was thinking 2 times, either the dealer's information will be able to allow the dealer to be able to go into the system to calculate first, go into the system first before the predefined calculation. So that was the 2 things that was going through my mind. That's what I was asking. I know the dealer is able to calculate, but if you say need ability, then is he not already in the system for him to be able to calculate? That is, so I was just the wording, that is what kind of threw me off a little bit.
You're gonna run into this type of issues every project, because you don't know who is writing the requirements, right?
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Their language is different.
Yes.
What background is different.
But again, right? So think of it like it's the requirement is written for what point of view, right? The requirement is telling you what should be the capabilities of the system.
Yes.
Right. And one of the capability is like they're just kind of changing the word to be ability, right? The system should have ability to calculate.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So like it's when we talk about the, let's say, e-commerce system, right? Let's say it's, hey, the e-commerce should have an ability to accept the order from a customer.
Okay.
Right. That could be a scenario. So again, the key aspect is like it's you have the context set it up when you read the requirements document. So, okay. Ursula, can you flip back to the requirements now?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So when you think of it, loan calculator, right? There is a context of that. Who needs an ability to calculate, right? So it'll be a dealer user need an ability to calculate the loan. So that's the context that you need to do it. Like that's where the completeness, remember, like it's in the 2.3.2, there is a table which talks about who can do what.
Yes.
Right. So that's where you need to put all the pieces together in order to get the complete context of the requirements, right?
Okay. Makes sense.
Now, same thing, when you talk about the next requirement, which is managed lender, which says, hey, ability to search lender by lender name. Well, who is going to do that?
Go to the table. Yeah.
There you go to the table, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you plug that, hey, whatever that person is, should have ability to search lender by lender name.
Correct.
Okay. So anybody has done this requirement or have a tree for this one? Anybody wants to explain what they have?
So before explaining the tree, I feel the requirement is incomplete because it only said ability to search lender by lender name. Is it the first name, last name, or the full name?
All right. So give me context, right? Give me an example of what the lender name will be here in your mind.
Let's say Bob Smith. So do we search with the name Bob or Smith? Or do I have to do it with the Bob Smith?
So let me give you a scenario and you tell me what happens in that, right? So let's say when I walk to a car dealership to buy a car, and the dealer says, hey, I can get you a loan. And then when they go, it says, hey, I'll get you a loan from, let's say, for example, Chase. Are they going to say its lender name is a Chase? Or are they going to say it's, hey, there are 500 people working at Chase. Let me find one person out of that 500 whom I can send a request for this loan. What will be more likely scenario?
They will say the name of the financial institute.
They will just say the name of the bank, right? So Chase or Huntington, like that. So if that's the case, if that is the name of the lender, do they have a first name or a last name?
No.
No.
Okay. So given that context, Nilima, do you think the requirement is still incomplete?
No, it's not.
All right. So do you have a scenario, tree scenario?
Is it okay if I say, because my system crashed, I'm just upgrading it to Windows 11 and I have logged in with my husband's system. So everything is different on his. I can just say like, I have taken lender name exist and lender name does not exist. Now for this, we need to use login as a super user and access the lender management module. And then
Okay. So Swapnali, let's talk through that, right?
Mhm.
So in this one, you're talking about there are two paths, right? One is lender exists and one lender doesn't exist.
Mhm.
So let's say you go to the Google search, right? Pretty much everybody has gone to the Google search.
Yes.
Okay, let's say I search on a term, which I don't know whether it exists in the Google search criteria or not. Then, and if I plug in, let's take an example, right? Let's say I'm searching on Columbus, right? As a keyword on Google. I don't know if there is ever any city called Columbus exist or not. What will my response? If it exists, then I'll get a whole bunch of link that matches to that, right?
Mhm.
If it doesn't exist, then what would I get?
Error message saying it doesn't exist.
Okay. So do I have to do different? Like when you say it exists scenario versus does not exist scenario, now you're just saying is that, hey, I will always know which lenders exist. So then I'm going to search them by exist condition, right?
Yes.
I think so better it will
But
be
what
like,
is the purpose of search then? If I already know the lender exists in the system, why would I search on it? If I already know something exists in the system, why would I search on it?
okay, actually instead of exist, I would say valid lender, invalid lender.
How do I know what is valid lender?
All the fields they have said in the requirement, like lender company name, address, phone, email, everything.
Wait, hang on. You're now changing my requirement. What does requirement say?
It
Search
says
the lender by
valid
lender name.
Search, yes,
Okay.
lender name. So yeah.
I should actually get any of the things built by all of you guys because you guys tend to add a lot of features. Hopefully you give it the same price so that I don't have to overpay on anything.
So think about, you are trying to find a chase in the system, right? I mean, if that helps you understand this requirement.
And remember what I'm doing, I don't know whether Chase exists or not, right?
Yeah.
All I'm just saying is that, hey, if Chase existed,
it's going to come up
return
with
me the result. If Chase doesn't exist, either give me an empty result or say something that it doesn't exist, right?
Yes.
So why would I have two different test cases?
I only did one for this.
Okay, what do you have?
So I have written on my notebook. So I have
Tell me the scenario. Yep.
okay. The scenario is lender user was found with their name. That's all I tested.
There is no lender user, right? There's only lender.
I mean lender, yes. My wording is different. I'm sorry. Yeah.
The wording is important, right?
Yes.
Specifically
yeah. So
when you put the context.
Yeah, like I said, it was a mistake. Yes. lender was found with their name.
Okay. So,
And I ran the steps and then the test for that.
so that's the only one?
Yes, that's all I did.
Okay.
What I was thinking was if I run the test and then if the dealer was able to pick the lender when they were doing their application with their name, then I thought there was no point for me to do.
Okay. So let me ask you guys a question. Do I have to give the entire name Chase, or if I search by CHA?
That's what my second test case scenario. Incomplete lender name. For example, Blue Sky Financing Group. That is the company name. But if somebody put only blue inside it, then will system show exactly the same Blue Sky Financial Group?
Okay.
If it
So,
doesn't show, then system fails.
right. So like it's what Herschel is pointing out, right? Am I searching by full name or I'm searching by partial?
Okay.
Right? Okay. And so let's talk about the full name, right? So if I enter a name, then it's very clear, right? Either it has to match exact same thing or it will not match, right? Let's talk about the partial one. Let's take it Bank of America and Huntington Bank as the two lenders put into the system. And if I search just by BA, what should the search result return? Should it return both? Or it should return only one because Bank of America starts with the BA?
Well,
so in other words, when I'm providing you partial string, is the return results are the results that starts with that partial string, or it's anywhere in the system or anywhere in the name that partial string?
It should be based on how the program is designed. But
You're now telling the developer to make a decision on behalf of the user.
So it depends on user then. How does he want it to be?
Okay. So you think, Nilima, the requirement is incomplete?
Yes, it is.
So then what kind of question you want to ask the user to get the understanding of what is missing for you?
So we can ask the user, like, can we search with the complete name, or is it okay to give the partial name to get all the names which has those letters in that bank name or the institute name?
So Herschel, since you are representing the business users, can you answer that question for us?
Yes, so the requirement is incomplete, which is correct. So I can clarify it for you guys. So whoever is doing the search, they should be able to search by full name. So if I search by Chase, so system will match it to the Chase Bank and return me the Chase Bank result. Now system should also be able to do the partial search with the starting with the name, starting with the whatever characters the user is entering. So again, if I enter Chase, again, I should be able to see Chase Bank, Chase just in the name, or I can see Chase Bank of whatever, Columbus or Chase.
So Herschel, what happens if it says JP Morgan Chase?
Mm-hmm.
Should it return the results? Should it match?
It will not return the result. So that's what I said here, the starting.
Okay. So Nilima, does that answer your question, or do you still have further questions for Herschel?
It's clear, but as the tester, can we suggest the user which should be better option instead of what they are thinking?
Harshal, what she's saying is that I know you wanted a 3-bedroom house, but I think you should go for 5-bedroom house. Is that what she's telling you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we all have limited budget, so I would stick to the requirement as a QA.
Okay.
Can you repeat your condition one more time, Arshil, so I can write it down? Sorry.
So it's a partial name. If you are searching with the partial name, but it is matched with the starting characters only. The name.
Okay. And then
So-
one with the complete, and if it's partial, it should start with the name of the company.
Right. So essentially, every time it will do partial. So if I enter Chase, right? If I'm entering Chase, so it should return me Chase of Columbus. Okay. Chase
Yes.
of Cincinnati, right? Because it's matching with the starting characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the starting character. So
But if I enter Chase XXX, okay, so there is no partial. It's only one record in the system. It will return me Chase XXX.
yeah.
Okay.
Since it's only one match over there.
Okay. Everybody understand the requirement?
Yes.
Can I ask if this is being recorded so we can get it? We can get it. Is that is you going to send it to us,
What was that, Jessica?
Joyce?
Joyce. Yeah, Joyce. Sorry.
I was just asking if this lab is being recorded as well, so that we can get it.
Yes,
It is. It is getting recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So if you guys are good with the requirements, now let's get back to the test scenarios and test cases.
Yep.
Right. Do you still feel you need the 2 test cases? You need more, you need less?
Well, I was thinking that the last 3 cases are also, I thought it was incomplete, and I think it was lacking some information, so I didn't do the scenario trees on that one.
So Joyce,
Joyce, we still
simple
on this.
answer, simple question to you.
Yes,
Right
sir.
now, Harshal is showing 2 test cases in that tree, right?
Yes.
Are you good with this too? You need more than 2? You need less than 2?
I'm
Can there
good.
be more than 2? Does anybody else can think of anything else? Think about it. We're ahead of tester. I mean, right now you are. Is any other scenario possible here?
What are the condition of a good test case?
Repeatable and predictable. Is that it?
That's a characteristic of a good test case, right? But also redundancy is the something that you need to consider, right?
Yes.
Okay. So is the 2 tests sufficient for you to test this requirement? Or you need more than 2? Let's simple say yes or no answer. Do you need more than 2?
No.
I think it's a yes for me. The 2 I can test it.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So
I
everybody,
Can we
go ahead.
can we take a one more one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Just
Deepa, you
like
think you need 3, right?
yes,
What is the third one?
like a regular, it just you said a Google search, right? When we try to search something and our spelling is wrong or like a mumbo jumbo in the thing, then they show
How
up
do you know
the
what the spelling is? How do you
yes.
have the
So
definition of right spelling?
yes. So when the system is thinking and showing us the option, did you mean this one or did you mean this one?
Is that the requirement?
No, that is not the requirement.
Okay, so I'll go back to the same thing, Dipal. You're telling Herschel what he wants, but not listening to actually what he wants. Did he say that he needs an intelligent search?
No, it costs money, right?
Okay. So anybody says that you need more than 2 now?
We should have negative testing as well. These 2 are the positive test
Okay.
cases here.
What is the negative test case then?
I didn't think about it.
Okay, let's think about it, right? You can't just throw a dart at it. Because when you throw a dart, you need a negative test case, but you don't know what it is. What steps you're going to write it? Anybody else can think of any negative scenario?
Or any other
So,
scenario. Yeah.
so I was gonna say, like with the two examples illustration that you gave, like on the first one, complete lender name, if we give Chase alone and we didn't specify it, couldn't that be a negative scenario? Because it's just a partial name. It's not a
And
full
what is
complete,
the negative scenario mean?
like not getting the results that you wanted.
Yeah, so if I give the Chase,
Yes.
and if Chase exists, then I would get that, right? So it's not a negative scenario.
Okay.
Okay. Now let me flip around and ask a question. Do you really need two tests, two scenarios here? Can I do it just with one?
No.
Why not?
Because if you can do it with one, then you need to have all the information, like inclusive,
How do
like
you,
the complete name.
If I'm just entering on some search string, how do I know that string is complete or half?
Given the requirement that you have, then
Again,
you can know.
requirement is one thing, the data is another thing, right? Requirement just tells me search lender by lender name,
Yes.
right? How do I know that whatever you're providing me is actually complete lender name or it's a partial name?
You check from the data given.
Who is providing the data for the test cases?
The business owner.
Where did it say it's going to be provided a business owner?
We can do only one test case here, the partial one, and we
Why?
don't need to do the complete.
Why?
Because even if we give the Chase or CHA, it's gonna initially give the same results. Or
Right. Also, I don't know what is a partial or what is a full, right? All I'm just searching by some name,
yes,
right? And what Herschel just said it is, give me anything that matches that string as a starting string. Now, it may be exact string, or it may be a partial string and a whole name. As long as the name starts with that string, then I'm good, right? So if I'm running a partial test, let's say with the CHA, it doesn't matter whether I actually have to run a test case with a complete name or not, because I don't know whether that is a complete name or not based on a CHA, right? So you just need only partial name search as a one scenario, and that is enough. Anything else you do it's going to be redundant.
So this scenario is actually part of this one,
Yeah.
technically, right? So this one is kind of like a redundant, because if you type in Chase, it will give you the same result as the other one, no matter what. It will always give you partial search on that.
Everybody understand why that first scenario is redundant?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's go back to what Nilima, you were talking about. That is a negative scenario. What happens if I don't provide any lender name and hit enter? What should system return? Nothing or everything?
Okay.
You guys know what should be the response of the system if I don't provide any data?
yeah, it should be nothing, because we are not entering a single letter to search as even
Okay,
a partial.
but somebody could also interpret that since you didn't provide anything, technically all the name matches it, right? Because everything is going to be greater than nothing, right? So you need to go back to the user and says, hey, what should be the response of the system in the event that they try to search with an empty string? Because remember, empty string is always precedes an actual string. That's the first segment of any string. So Harshal, what should system return when there is no lender name is provided and somebody hits search?
Yeah, so there could be many lenders in the system. So at this point, if they don't enter anything and try to search, they should see some error message saying, please enter at least one character or something like that. So that's some missing requirement as part of this one, search lender by lender name. So they should not be able to search without entering any data. So that could be a new requirement that they can add, or we can modify this requirement.
So everybody with me now?
Yes.
Okay. So this particular requirement, based on the clarification that user provided, it's probably going to have two different scenarios. One is no data, another one is a partial or incomplete data. So in that scenario of negative, if they don't provide any data and try to hit the search, system should display an error message that please provide at least one character for the lender name. You guys good?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go to the, I heard some of you say that you didn't have a chance to finish any one of those three on the 266. Did
Yes.
anybody complete it? That?
Yes, I did it.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Which one you guys did it?
Okay, let's talk about the scenario 2.1, which is lender can only access the credit application assigned to them. Can you guys show me a tree for that?
Does anybody have it? I can stop sharing.
Yes, I do have it.
Okay,
All
let
right.
me stop sharing. Okay, if you have it in a digital format, go ahead and share that.
Yes, just give me a second so I can pull it up. Let me see which one is that. Just
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen, Deepak.
yes, but this is a different one.
Okay.
Just give me a second. It is not in the picture. I did.
Okay. No worries. Does anybody else has it?
I did, but it's on a piece of paper, not on the system.
Okay.
I can hold
Go
on.
ahead.
Just give me a second.
Sure.
Okay. Need to do it. Are you guys able to see it?
Yep. Go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Yep.
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 Yes.
That's good.
Good?
Yeah.
Yes. So we can go, we need to first identify the requirements, because we need to go ask a user.
Can you explain what this requirement is supposed to do, Deepal, and who would be performing the work here?
Yes, so lender can only access the credit application assigned to them. So the people are working on this requirement are lender users.
Lender users, okay.
So basically it is not in requirement document, but the system document, it says a particular credit application will assign with the ID number or dealer number.
Okay, before you go to the ID number, dealer number, right? So when does this requirement come in the picture?
Okay, so first, like once the credit application is filled and submit, then the system will send the notification to lender, hey, you guys received this credit application. And at lender point of view, lender side, lender user will open up the credit application and start reviewing the application for approval or rejection.
Okay, okay. I think that's correct. Okay. So now let's talk about this requirement. What are the scenarios here?
So for positive cases with the assigned application, if they have a required ID or a dealer ID, then lender user can access the application. The second scenario is if that ID is wrong, then lender user cannot open up the credit application and access that application. Or the third scenario is if the dealer ID is wrong, then lender user cannot open and access the application.
Okay, where does the dealer ID come in the picture here?
So in the system document, the second document, in the credit application section, they are mentioning that this particular credit application is has a unique ID number, or it can lender can see it by a dealer ID number. Dealer ID.
Where is the dealer ID information? I think that's what the Herschel is asking question.
Oh, so
the
do
information, so hold on for a minute, Deepal, right?
Yeah.
When I read the requirement, right, it says lender can only access the credit application assigned to them. So do I know how many dealers are going to assign the application to me, and therefore I have their dealer IDs? It could come from anywhere, right? Because this is a platform.
Yes.
Somebody signed a new dealer. I would like them to select me as a lender so that I can make money, right?
Yes.
So the goal here is, if you'd like, it's kind of talk about the dealer ID. Nowhere in the requirement, it mentions that, hey, as a lender, I should be able to search based on a dealer ID. Right?
Yes.
So let's interpret the requirements, right? What requirement says that I can access only the credit application that is assigned to me, right?
Yes.
Irrespective of how it is assigned to me. As long as system says it's going to be assigned to me, then I should be able to see it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if you have that, how would you go about requirements, right? Because it doesn't matter which dealer assigns to me. Does it?
Yes.
When you say yes, does it matter which dealer assigns to me, or it does not matter?
No, it does not matter. I'm agreeing with you. Yes.
Okay. So if it doesn't matter, what should be my tree?
I just can I share mine?
Yeah, go ahead, Basu.
Yeah, I just did one positive test for this, and then on my scenario, one scenario that I chose was lender selected in the application, credit application can only be able to access the application.
Yeah, but how do I make sure? Like, what is the scenario there? So think of this way, right?
Yeah.
I'm one lender and Herschel is another lender.
Yes.
what this requirement tells me is that if I logged into the system, the only credit applications that I should be able to see it are the ones that is assigned to me
Yes.
and not the ones that are assigned to Herschel,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And vice versa. If that is the case, what are the different number of test cases I need to test it in order to ensure that I can access only mine application?
You have to prove it, right? As a QA, you are testing different conditions so that you can make sure that system is working as expected, right? So here,
Yes.
Dilip gave you scenario here. He explained you that there are at least 2 lenders. And so you need to think in terms of how you are going to test that condition and so forth.
Can I tell you something? Here we
Yeah.
will go back to business and we'll ask them like which one is assigned, how many are applications are
Okay, so
assigned to
I'll
this lender and how Harshal and Dilip.
Shruti, in the interest of time, I'll tell you this requirement's completed. You don't need a 3CNT
So
missing data here.
So I
Yeah,
guess
this
we'll.
Sorry. Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
So I guess here as a QA, we'll create another lender user.
Again, what I want you guys to tell me is tell me the scenarios. I gave you one scenario, right?
Okay.
There are more than 2
Yes.
lenders in the system, and they should be able to see it only there. So how do you prove it?
I said lender not selected should not access the credit application.
How do you prove it?
You want me to tell the steps that I did or that I
Yeah,
failed?
go ahead logical steps, right? How you
All right, so first access the rflown.com, log in as a dealer user.
Okay.
Why would I log in as a dealer user?
So because I am trying to submit the application where
Okay, so you're creating a fresh one. Okay.
Yes. So
That's
log
good.
in as a dealer user, access credit app module, create a new credit application, supply the valid information needed, and choose lender. Here I fake the leader name as ABC with the valid email.
Okay.
And now, yes.
So you're selecting a lender.
Yes.
Right, that it needs to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
with valid email ID or email address, log in now. I will log in as a lender user ABC because I made that account to test it if I get the notification or not. And lender ABC gets an email notifications for the credit application sent to them.
Okay.
And then lender ABC goes back and logs into the user account and can successfully access the credit application.
Okay.
What's the next step?
So that's for the positive one. That's what I did.
Okay, so let me ask
So
a
that
question.
means, sorry, go ahead. I'm going to say one more thing and then.
Go ahead, finish up your thought then. I
Yeah.
thought you were done.
Yeah, so since lender ABC, which was selected on the credit application, gets the notification already, then that means my requirement is valid.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
In the steps that you tell, all you proved it is that, hey, if a dealer creates an application and assigns to lender, they can see that application.
Yes.
But you did not prove that I can access only mine, right? The keyword is only mine. All you proved it is if there is an application that is assigned to me, I can see it. But you didn't prove it that if there is an application that is assigned to somebody else, that I cannot see it.
Yeah, I have to do the second part now.
And what happens if I log in as a lender user and there is no credit application assigned to me? What should I see it?
I should not see anything.
So at that point, can you tell me whether it's working or not?
If I don't see anything, that means it's
Does that
working.
mean there's nothing assigned to me? Or that could be because system is not working as expected,
Well,
and I
if
can't even
don't
see mine.
if I don't see the notification, that means it wasn't assigned to me, because the system is supposed to send me the notifications once the credit
Okay, so all
application
you're
is submitted.
predicting it is that if I don't get a notification, there is no way I can access the system. I mean, application in the system.
Yes, but that's not right.
Where does
now.
that requirement is in this document?
So it's not related requirement, right? The notification they are notifying, but then lender can always log in and see what's in their inbox or whatever queue they have, how many applications they have, and so forth. So notification.
If they are not selected, then they should not get the notifications, right?
Which is a different.
Well, even if I'm selected, right? If
Yes.
the email system is down, even if I have a valid email, what if it times out and I don't get that?
I think you are on the right track, but I think you prove only the portion of it, kind of like what Deepal has it, positive scenario, right? So that's the scenario I think you have it. But I think that there is additional steps. You have to prove that nobody else can see that credit application. That's what is missing here.
Okay. So think about at least 3 distinct things could happen in the system.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
The system has no credit applications at all.
Okay.
Right? So as a lender, I don't have anything assigned to me. Then what should I see it? Second thing is, if I'm a lender and a credit application is assigned to me, what should I see it? Third scenario is, if I'm a lender and there is a credit application in the system, but that is not assigned to me, then what should I see?
Okay.
And if there are 2 lenders and each one of them are assigned one credit application, then what should I see it as a lender? Right?
Yeah.
So those are 4 things that I think I need to consider in order to validate that, hey, I can see only my applications. You guys understand what I said?
No.
Lip, can you say it one more time, please?
So similar to mathematics, right? Where when you're trying to prove a theorem, right? You have to prove its presence and you have to prove it at the absence of an absence. Right? So if I'm saying a lender can only access there are 4 possible things could happen in the system. First one, there is no credit application in the system. Right? So when I log in as a lender, if there is nothing in the system, what should I see? So that's one. Second one is, if I log into system and then there is one credit application, or at least one credit application that is assigned to me, then what should I see? Third scenario, if there are 2 lenders in the system and a credit application is assigned only to one lender, can the other lender who does not have an application assigned to me can see that application? Okay. In the fourth scenario, I have 2 lenders in the system and each one of them has at least one credit application assigned to them. Then what should they be able to see?
So it's like your bank account. Can you see somebody else's money? Can you access somebody else's bank account and pick into that? So same scenario here.
So I want you to think about those 4 possible situations that could happen in the system. And based on that, how many test cases you needed for to prove out this requirement.
So sometimes things do get complex, as you can see it, right?
So think about it, right? It's the requirement is fairly simple. It's just only one sentence. But the word only creates a complication and makes it a complex requirement that you have to prove all the different scenarios.
And your job as a QA is to make sure that that requirement is implemented correctly into the system. And that's the whole reason you have to run through different scenarios like this here. Okay.
I'm gonna flip to the other two requirements.
Yeah, any question on this one? Just to make sure. Because you guys will have to write test case on this one. So I just want to make sure you guys understand. So no question, meaning everybody's good. Okay. All right. Let's talk about 2.2.
You want to flip the screen so that we can see it? I don't know if you are sharing the screen or.
Oh, you guys.
I think Deepal is sharing the screen. So there you go.
All right. Hang on a second. So I was sharing my screen here for this 2.1 with the different scenarios here. I think Dilip, you said 4. So
Yeah,
I missed
yeah, that is 2 lenders and only 1 credit application. Then who can see it?
Yeah, so assigned to different lenders. So no credit app not assigned to me, but assigned to different lender.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So let's flip back to the requirement.
Okay. So 2.2 here. So lender can only approve or reject credit application by changing status.
So anybody has written the tree for this one?
Yes, I have 3 test cases for this.
Okay. Can you
What
just
are those?
explain what those test cases are?
Yeah, one is status approved.
Okay, approved.
Second is status reject. And
Reject.
the third one is status not selected.
Okay, not selected.
Why?
Okay.
So
what I'm
walk me through it, all 3 of them.
So
when you
when
say,
the
go ahead.
So when the lender gets the credit application, the initial status will be pending. And then after reviewing the credit application, the lender can only change the status, nothing else, just the status. Either it is approved or rejected.
Then what is third one that you mentioned it?
So he has to select some status and save the credit application to send it back to the dealer. So if he doesn't select any of the status as approved or reject, or just keep it blank and save it and send it back to the dealer, it will be still as a pending credit application.
Okay, so where in the system there is a requirement which says that, hey, I can leave this things as is and send back to the dealer?
He can only do approved or reject. So
right. So they cannot send it back unless they either approve or reject, right?
Yeah, this is my negative test case to see if the lender does not select anything and save it, will it save it or not?
Well, so understand the requirement in the context, right? The third requirement just says that they cannot modify anything. but the status, right?
Mhm.
So when I read a 2.2 and 2.3 together, all it just says that as a lender, all I can do it is just change the status, and the only values I can change the status is either approve or reject. So there is no such thing as I didn't select anything and saved, right? Yes, no?
I'm assuming like there will be only 2 options to select for the status.
Right, so if there is nothing which is not selected option, can I even test that? Is it even possible for me to do a testing on a option which is not there in the system?
But what if the lender sometimes doesn't select anything and he thinks he did and save it? That's when it should
Why
give
would
an
lenders save anything if they are not able to change any data other than the status? What would they change that they need to save it? And if nothing is changed, does it make a difference if I save it or don't save it?
yeah, he cannot save change anything else except this one.
So third scenario that you're talking about, is it ever going to occur?
I think no, but I just wanted some negative scenario here. So
Again, just don't write this negative scenario for the sake of writing it, that not all requirements have to have a negative scenario.
okay.
You should add negative scenario only if you feel that it's going to add a value and it's not going to be redundant. Let me ask another question then. What if a application is already in the approved status? Can I change that to reject status?
Yes, yes,
You said yes?
yes.
Okay, let's talk through scenario, right? So a lender approved a credit application. Based on that, the dealer went ahead and fixed a car. Then lender goes it and rejects that application, says, I'm not going to give you the loan. Is that an acceptable scenario for dealer?
No, that should
No.
not happen.
So should I be able to change a status once it's either approved or reject to something else?
No, you should not.
No.
Do you need a scenario then?
Yes.
What would be that scenario?
Once approved or rejected, it should be the lender cannot change that status.
Okay. So think of this way, right? The 3 scenarios should be, or 4 scenario, depending on how you implement it, is my application is in a pending state. From there, I can either approve or I can reject. If my application is in approved state or rejected state, then I should not be able to change it. Right? But if you look into the requirement, all it just says that I should be able to either approve or reject. So you should go back to the end user and ask the question, just like what I ask all of you guys. Does it make sense? Or can lender users can change the status of an application after it has set either approved or rejected status? So Herschel, as a requirement, can
Yep.
they able to action anything once it's approved or rejected?
Nope. They should. The decision is final. They should not be able to change any status to basically approved or approve from reject or reject from approve.
So as a quality assurance person, don't I have to test that scenario? If it is set to approved, then I should not be able to change anything. So do you see it how you will need an additional tree, right? And maybe you have to test both. If it is an approved status, that I can't do anything. And if it's in the reject status, then I can't do anything. Right? And if it's pending, can I set it up to approved? And if it's pending, can I set it to reject? So there are 4 test scenarios that you have it. Okay. The last 2 that Herschel added, those are negative. The first 2 should be positive. Negative in the sense that I should not be able to do those.
But you had this first 2 there, and third one is a little bit tricky, requires clarification. So I think, yep. And then you can always add more scenarios as you find out more information. So.
And Herschel, if you kind of just go ahead and show the final requirement. Now this, you can think about it as fairly straightforward scenario, right? It's if I'm logging as a lender, it should be simple, straight, black and white, right? Either I can change any of the application data or I cannot change it. So it's either only in a read-only mode that I can verify, or if it's in the edit mode, then I know it fails. So it's only one test case. If it passes, then I'm good. If it fails, then there is an absence condition. So it's a read-only, right? You guys good?
Yes.
I thought that since you cannot modify application at all, then the system will not even allow you to go in to modify.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is it's a read-only, right?
Read-only.
It's a read-only, right? So that's the word Dilip is using.
So if when I log in, it displays all the feed as a read-only feed with the exception of the status, then I know it is working. If any of the field other than the status is also editable, then it fails.
Okay. All right. Any question on what we discussed today here?
This read-only requirement. So do we need to make a positive test case, or we don't need to generate any case here?
That's the only test case, right?
Okay.
It's simply you log in
Yes.
as a lender and says, if I pull up an application, does it pull up as a read-only data? Or does it pull up as a editable data?
Okay. Yes.
Can you please share all the test scenario again that we can check with ours?
Yeah, I'll be putting it out the video, so you can skip through the video and basically work through that. Yep. But hopefully you guys can take a stab at it before looking at the video. And if you need further explanation, I mean, you can always go back to the video and see it and work through it. But hopefully this one will give you more understanding about how you can break down the requirement into the various scenarios and so forth.
So Herschel, let's talk about what they will be doing between now and Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. So I'm hoping, we are hoping that you all have at least few test cases written down and working through that. If you haven't finished the scenarios, make sure you complete that as well. but the test cases are also important. So we'll review on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, so we I think total 8 test cases. I think you guys should have it. Everybody should have written different test case, right? So based on each requirement, make sure you have at least one.
Okay.
So now you have more understanding, right? I mean, so hopefully you can write. If you feel comfortable with the logical steps, write it that first and then convert to the test case. But we will spend time on this one on Saturday. Okay, that's all we will be planning to do.
Okay.
I have a question about the test case. I have done the test case, but on the top of the test case, as you can see, the module and the project, right?
Yeah, don't worry about
Ignore those things.
Okay. That's
Project
what
is
I was.
always going to be R-flown, and modules is whatever, like it's for example, right? If Herschel is like it's displaying this manage lender requirement, the module will be a lender management.
Okay.
If it shows approve reject credit application, the module will be again the lender, right? Because this functionality can perform only by lender.
Yeah, so but don't worry about those.
Yeah, if you don't get that, I would not worry too much about it. Like I would first focus on getting the tree right and then getting the test steps right and a precondition and a postcondition right.
Right. Yep.
So do we need our systems for this Saturday and Sunday?
Definitely bring the laptop. Yeah, bring the laptop and because you will have some exercise to complete in the class as well.
Okay.
But make sure you complete the test cases because we plan to review that on Saturday, first thing on the Saturday morning.
Okay.
Okay.
If you write it, then only we can review it. If you don't write it, we will not know how much progress you have made. So we cannot provide you input on that. So make sure you write it whichever way. Nothing, there is no right or wrong thing here. Make sure you write it and we'll correct it.
Yeah. In another aspect is the next steps that you're going to perform and learn it is going to be depend on your test case that you write it. Right. That's why it's required that you finish at least 8, even if we're not expecting everybody to have everything perfect, right? Because this is your learning cycle.
Yes.
But you have to write at least 8 test cases.
Yep. Alrighty then. I guess we will regroup on Saturday morning, 8:45.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.